Look down at your ankles right now. Not later, not after this video, right now, while I'm talking to you. If you're seeing two puffy things where your ankles used to be, if you peel off your sock at night and there's a deep ring pressed into your skin like the fabric took a bite out of you, then I need you to hear me, because for 40 years, people have been walking into my kitchen scared half to death over exactly what you're looking at. And almost every single one of them had been told the same wrong thing. They told you swollen ankles after 60 means your heart is giving out, or your kidneys, or something terrible nobody wants to say out loud. And maybe you went and had it checked, and the doctor ran his tests and said everything looks fine, go home, put your feet up, and your ankles kept swelling anyway, every single evening, with nobody able to tell you why. I'm 82 years old. I've never held a medical license in my life. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you the thing that doctor didn't have the time to tell you, and a little something you can do flat on your back in bed before your feet ever touch the floor in the morning. That costs you nothing but 5 minutes a day. My name is Mary. I live in an old order Amish community in Holmes County, Ohio, the way my mother did and her mother before her. I wear a plain dress I sewed myself and a covering on my head, and I get where I'm going by horse and buggy, same as always. For more than 40 years now, the folks in my district have come to me when something hurts, not because I'm a doctor. I'm not, and I'll tell you plain when you need a real one. They come because I learned at my grandmother's elbow how to read a body, how to use what grows in the garden, how to tell the difference between a thing you wait out and a thing you'd better not wait on. And swollen feet, oh, I have seen 1,000 pairs of swollen feet. So let me tell you what I've learned, because it's helped a lot of frightened people sleep at night, and it might help you too. Here's the trouble with how the swelling gets handled out there in the English world. When an older person comes in with puffy ankles, there's a list the doctor runs straight down: blood work, heart tracing, check the blood pressure, maybe a picture of the heart if he's thorough. And when none of it turns up anything bad, he tells you it's just your age, move around more, drink water, put your feet up, and that's the end of the visit. Now, I'm not going to sit here and run those doctors down, because I understand they're buying better than most. They've got 8, maybe 10 minutes with you, and in 8 minutes, a person can only do so much. They are trained to go hunting for the dangerous things, the heart failing, the kidneys failing, the clot. And that is right and good. Those things are real and they matter. But here's the gap nobody talks about. When the tests come back clean, the doctor figures there's nothing wrong. And between something is seriously wrong and nothing at all is wrong, there is a great wide piece of land where most older folks actually live. It's a land where a part of you isn't broken, it's just running slow. And a body part that's running slow won't ever show up on a blood test. That doesn't mean it isn't real. I have watched it be real in my own kitchen for 40 years. So let me tell you what swelling actually is. In plain words, when a part of you puffs up, it's because fluid has settled into the soft tissue and is sitting there instead of moving along like it ought to. The doctors have a fancy word for it, but the word just means swelling, nothing more frightening than that. The question that matters is, where did that fluid come from and why won't it leave? There are really two main reasons. The first one is that the heart isn't pushing the way it should, and the pressure backs up in the veins until fluid gets squeezed out into the tissue. that one is serious. That one needs a doctor and medicine, and I'd never tell you otherwise. But the second reason is far more common once you pass 60, and it's the one hardly anybody ever explains to you. The second reason is that the system, whose whole job is to carry that extra fluid away, has gotten lazy and slow. And to understand that, I want you to picture something with me. Picture that your body has two sets of pipes running through it. The first set you already know about, even if you never thought of it that way. That's your blood. Your heart squeezes, the blood rushes out through the arteries, feeds everything, and comes back through the veins. The important thing about that set of pipes is that it has a pump, a strong one. Your heart never stops shoving things along day and night, whether you're moving or sitting still. Now picture a second set of pipes, much thinner, much more delicate, laid right alongside the first. Think of that second set as the drain pipes of the house. Their job is to collect all the leftover fluid that seeps out into your tissue, gather up the waste and the worn-out bits the body's done with, and carry it off to be cleaned out. And here is the whole secret, the thing that changes everything. That second set of pipes has no pump, none. There's no heart attached to it. It moves only when your muscles move. Every time you take a step, every time you climb a stair, every time you so much as wiggle your foot, the muscles squeeze down on those little drain pipes and push the fluid up and along, the same as when you roll a tube of ointment from the bottom to get the last of it out. The squeeze is what makes it go. Now do you see the corner we get backed into as we get older? After 60, most folks move less. And I don't mean that unkindly. I'm not calling anybody lazy. Far from it. People move less because their knees ache, or they're scared of taking a fall, or the body just stopped begging them to get up the way it used to. But when the moving slows down, that fluid in the drain pipes has nothing pushing it, so it sits. It gets thick and sluggish, and it settles the way water always settles, into the lowest spots it can find. And the lowest spots on a standing, sitting person are the feet and the ankles and the bottoms of the legs. That's your swelling right there. That heavy, tired, full feeling in your legs by supper time. That tight, shiny skin at the end of the day. It very often is not your heart at all. It's your drainage, gone, quiet, asking to be woken back up. Before I go on, do me a kindness. If anything I've said so far has you nodding your head, if this sounds like your own 2 feet I'm describing, leave me a note down below and tell me where you're watching from and how old you are. I don't care if you're 61 or if you're 90. I want to know you're there. I'm an old woman talking into a little camera my grandson set up, and every time one of you writes to me, it helps me know what to talk about next. So tell me, now, why does this all come crashing together right around the 60s? Because it's never just one thing, it's several, and they all show up to the party at once. First, those little drain pipes lose their stretch as you age, the same way the skin on the back of your hand goes thin, and the garden hose gets stiff after a few winters. Stiffer pipes need more of a push to get going. Second, like I said, the moving drops off, often so quiet you don't even notice it happening. A few more hours in the chair, skipping the stairs, cutting the evening walk short. Third, and this one surprises near everybody, most older folks just don't drink enough water. You stop feeling thirsty the way you did at 40, so you sip less, And here's the part that turns it backward. When you're short on water, that fluid in the drain pipes gets thick as molasses and moves even worse. Water doesn't make you swell. Water helps the whole thing flow. And fourth, the heat. Swollen ankles get worse in the summer, every time. Heat opens up the vessels and lets more fluid weep out into the tissue, piling more work on a drainage system that was already dragging its feet. Put all four of those together, and you've got the trouble landing on you at the exact time of life you're least set up to fight it. But I've got good news, and I'd stake my 40 years on it. This part of the body answers back beautifully to small, simple things. You don't need a pill. You don't need some machine off the television. You don't need to drag yourself to a gymnasium and hurt. You need 5 minutes. You need to do it most every day, and you need to know exactly what you're doing. But before I give you the 5 minutes, I have to be square with you because I'd never forgive myself otherwise. There are some kinds of swelling that mean you put down your knitting and get to a doctor today, not tomorrow. Today. Hear me close now. If the swelling came on fast, in a matter of hours, out of nowhere, and it's in only one leg, that can be a clot deep in the vein, and that is an emergency. You go. If the swelling comes along with trouble breathing, or pain or pressure in your chest, or your heart fluttering and pounding, that could be the heart, and you do not sit on that, you go. If the skin over the swelling is red and hot to the touch and you're running a fever, that can be an infection that needs treating. You go. And if you put your feet up good and high for a solid half hour and there's no change at all, none, that earns a look from a doctor too. None of those are things an old Amish woman fixes with her garden and her hands. Those you take straight to the English doctor, and you don't dawdle. Promise me that. All right. Now, if none of those warning signs are yours, if the swelling is in both legs, not just the one, if it's worse come evening and better in the morning, if it eases up when you rest with your feet propped, and if you've already had your heart checked and your blood checked and they came back fine, then what you're most likely looking at is exactly what I've been describing, fluid that's gone still and settled where it shouldn't, quiet drainage. The good news about quiet is that quiet can be woken up. So let's wake it up. Here is what I want you to do every morning before you so much as sit up while you're still lying flat in your bed. I learned the bones of this watching how the body wants to work, and it leans on 3 simple things together, the way you lean on the position, the moving, and the breathing all at once. Do just one and you get a little. Do all 3 and it's a different animal entirely. Let's go through it. First, the position. Before anything else, prop 2 pillows under your legs so your ankles and calves are lifted up higher than your heart. If your pillows are good and thick, one might do it. The idea couldn't be plainer. You're letting the good Lord's gravity do part of the work for you. Fluid runs downhill, always has. So you give it a downhill road to follow, from your feet back toward the middle of you, where the body can finally drain it off proper. Just lie there with your legs up like that for a full minute before you start to move anything. And second, the moving, the little pumping. Start with what folks who work on bodies call the ankle pump. It's so easy you'll think I'm fooling you, and yet it's one of the soundest, most studied little movements there is for getting that fluid traveling again. With your legs still up on those pillows, point your toes up toward your own face, like you're trying to touch your shin with your toes. Then push them away from you like you're reaching for the foot of the bed. Up and away, up and away. Slow, even, no straining. Do that a full minute. And every time you flex that calf muscle, you are squeezing down on the very drain pipes buried inside it. And that squeeze pushes the fluid up toward the knee and the groin where the body cleans it. After the pumps, roll your feet in slow circles, 10 one way and 10 back the other way. That works loose the little vessels right around the ankle, which are the ones that get the most clogged up over the years. Third, and this is the one that surprises every soul I tell it to, the breathing. Did you know the muscle you breathe with, that big flat one under your lungs, works like a second pump for that drainage system? It's true. When you pull a deep breath way down, that muscle drops down towards your belly. And when you let it out, it rises back up. And that up and down makes the pressure change inside you in a way that actually draws the fluid up out of your legs toward the big main drain in the middle of your chest. Think of it like the big drain at the bottom of a wash tub. You can fuss with the little drains all day, but if the main one's shut, nothing goes anywhere. A deep breath opens that main one. So while you're still pumping those ankles, breathe like this. Pull the air in slow through your nose, 4 counts, and let your belly puff out. Not your chest, your belly. Hold it gentle for 2 counts. Then let it out slow through your mouth, 6 counts, 8 if you can, till you're good and empty. Do 10 of those long breaths while you keep the feet moving. And here's a gift on top of a gift. That slow, deep breathing also drops the whole body into its calm and mending state, which settles the inflammation down and helps the vessels along besides. You get 2 cures for the price of 1 breath. Fourth and last, the rubbing, always upward. After your couple minutes of moving and breathing, sit yourself up on the edge of the bed, take both hands and lay them on your foot. Start down by the toes and slide your hands up, gentle but with some purpose, up toward the ankle, then up the calf, then up to the knee, always up, never down, not ever. And I'll tell you why it has to be up. Those little drain pipes have tiny one-way doors in them, and the doors only open one direction, toward the heart. Rub downward and you're shoving against closed doors. Rub upward and every door swings open and you're helping the river run the way it already wants to. Keep the touch soft now. You're not working bread dough. You're not trying to dig in. Think more like you're smoothing the wrinkles out of a good tablecloth, just enough to glide, never enough to hurt. That drainage sits right up shallow under the skin. It doesn't want a hard hand. Give each leg a minute, and there's your 5 minutes. 1 minute just lying with the legs up, 2 minutes of pumping and breathing, 2 minutes of the upward rubbing. Do that every morning before your feet hit the floor. Stick with it 3 weeks, and I'll tell you what I've watched happen in my own kitchen more times than I could count. I'm not promising you a miracle. I don't traffic in miracles. I'm telling you how a body works. Moving the fluid by working the muscles and lifting the legs, that's no old wives' tale. That's the plainest truth there is. Folks have known it longer than there have been doctors. Now, the morning routine is the heart of it, but there's a handful of things you do the rest of the day that'll either help it or undo it. So let me give you the ones that matter most. The water. First, I said it already, but I'll say it again because it's that important. Aim for somewhere around 6 to 8 cups of water across the day, unless your doctors told you to hold back on fluids for your heart or kidneys, in which case you mind him, not me. That drainage fluid needs water to stay thin enough to move. A cup of warm water first thing in the morning, before the coffee, before anything, is one of the kindest things you can do for those tired legs. Next, keep moving in little bits all day long. If you've been sitting an hour, get up and take even 10 steps and sit back down. It doesn't have to be a walk around the block. You're just nudging that pump back to life every little while so the fluid never gets the chance to settle and harden. Next, keep the heat off your legs. The scalding hot baths, the heater blowing right on your feet, the heavy stockings in July, all of that opens the vessels and weeps more fluid into the tissue. If you're a sweller, heat is no friend of yours. A little coolness, on the other hand, helps. Next, and I know this one stings to hear, watch the salt. Salt holds water in the body. That's just how it is. I'm not telling you to throw out the salt cellar. That's no way to live either. But if you're eating a lot of cured meats and canned things and salty packaged food and your ankles are blowing up, the two are holding hands, I promise you. Pulling back on the added salt is one of the quickest ways to see a change. And the last one costs nothing at all. Sleep with your feet propped up just a touch. You don't need to stand the bed on end. Slip a thin pillow under your feet or put a little something under the legs at the foot of the bed so it sits a hand's width higher than the head. While you sleep, your body's got 7-8 hours to drain off what the day piled up. Let it. Now, I want to step away from the body for a minute and talk about something I've seen sitting behind the swelling in the eyes every time. The fear. When somebody 70 years old sits down across my table with their ankles big as bread loaves and nobody's bothered to explain a thing to them, the fear in them is a real and heavy thing. And it isn't foolish. I want to say that clear. Past a certain age, the body starts sending up signals you don't know how to read, and when nobody takes the time to tell you what they mean, your own mind goes ahead and fills the silence with the very worst it can dream up. I'm going to end up bedridden. I'm going to be a burden on my children. This is the beginning of the end. I have heard those exact words more times than I can stand, and every time my heart just aches because so often it simply was not so. And here's the part folks don't know. That kind of long-running fear doesn't just hurt your spirit, it hurts your body too. Fear that never lets up keeps a certain stress running in you. And that stress stirs up the very inflammation and fluid trouble you're already fighting. So the fear feeds the swelling, and the swelling feeds the fear, round and round. But knowing breaks that circle. When you finally understand what your body's doing, when you've got a clear picture in your head instead of a fog, the fear doesn't vanish. A little caution is a healthy thing, but it stops freezing you. It turns into something you can act on. And that turn right there is the whole difference between a person who feels like a prisoner of their own body and a person who's learned to work alongside it. If you feel even a little of that turn happening as you listen to me, then this old woman has done her job today. I can't leave off without saying a word on those compression stockings, because somebody surely told you to wear them, or they're about to. Do they work? They do. I'll not argue it. They squeeze your leg from the outside and help push that fluid up, doing some of the job your own slack vessels have quit doing. They make good sense for somebody who's going to be on their feet for hours or sitting still on a long trip. But there's a right way and a wrong way, and the wrong way is common as dirt. Mistake one, pulling them on at noon when your ankles are already swelled up. That's like trying to shut the barn door after the horse is loose. You put them on first thing in the morning while the leg is still down to its normal size before you've even stood up. Mistake two, getting the wrong tightness. The ones you grab off the shelf at the pharmacy are usually a light squeeze, and that's safe for most folks. But the stronger ones, the ones that take a doctor's say so, those need a proper looking over first, because for some people with certain circulation troubles, the strong ones can do harm instead of good. And mistake three, leaning on the stockings and doing nothing else. They're a help, not a cure. The minute you peel them off, if you haven't been drinking your water and moving and doing your morning 5 minutes, the swelling comes right back where it was. Folks always ask me, Mary, how long till I see something? And the honest answer is, it depends. If your legs have been swelling for months, if that drainage has been sitting quiet a long while, you're not going to wake up tomorrow with the ankles of a girl. That'd be a lie, and I won't tell it. But what I've seen time and again is that the folks who stick with it faithful for 2-3 weeks start noticing in that first week that the mornings are better, the ankles smaller when they wake, and it takes longer in the day before they puff up. By the second week, the heavy, dragging feeling through the day lets up, and by evening there's a difference you can plainly see. And by the third week, the whole pattern's shifted, the swelling doesn't climb as high as it used to, and the skin on the ankles feels softer and gives a little, instead of being stretched tight. That's no magic. That's just what a body does when you finally give it what it's been asking for, steady, day after day. And steady is the whole secret. 5 minutes every single morning will beat an hour once a fortnight every time. The body likes a small, kind, regular nudge far better than a big, hard shove now and then. Let me close with something from my own heart. I've been laying hands on hurting people in this community for over 40 years, and if there's one thing all those years taught me, it's that the body's got a power to mend itself that we forget to give it credit for. We've gotten into the habit out there of reaching for a pill or a machine for things that plain knowledge and good habits and a little patience would handle just fine. Now, I'd never say doctoring isn't needed. It surely is. There's sickness that wants medicine and surgery and all the cleverness they've got, and thank the Lord for it. But there's a whole pile of troubles, especially the ones that come with growing old, the stiffness, the swelling, the slowing down, that answer back wonderfully to simple things once a body's been told the truth about what's happening. You deserve that truth. It doesn't matter one bit whether you're 62 or 88. The body still knows how to get better. What changes with the years isn't whether you can mend, it's how long it takes and how faithful you've got to be. So start tomorrow morning before your feet touch the floor. The legs up, the pumping, the deep, slow breathing, the upward rubbing, 5 minutes. And in 3 weeks, come back here and tell me down below what's changed, because I truly do want to know. If this has helped you, then go and share it today, not someday, today, with anybody you love whose feet are swelling and who's scared and hasn't been told a thing, because help that stays locked up in your own head never healed a soul. And if you'd like an old woman to keep talking to you plain about how to take care of yourself past 60, you come on back and sit with me again. Now hear this last part close, because I mean every word. What I've shared with you today is for learning and for understanding, nothing more. It is not a diagnosis. It does not take the place of your own doctor, and it is not personal medical advice for your particular body. Every person is different, and what helps most folks may not be right for you. If your ankle swells up all of a sudden in just one leg, or it comes with trouble breathing, or chest pain, or a fever, you get to a doctor right away. Do not wait. And anytime you're uncertain about your health, you ask a real qualified medical professional. That's not me hedging. That's me caring about you enough to tell you the truth.